and checked your breath again and checked it again in case you weren't breathing, even though everyone else thought she was being ridiculous. And you just checked one more time, and then you checked the heartbeat again. That is the mother's love for her children.
Yep.
And when you started school, whether you went in ponytails or pigtails or had your hair cut short because your mammy said, you know, you might get the friends in. Yeah? And the teacher said, Mahan Colleen, you're a great girl, or the teacher maybe ignored you. And they were your feelings. They weren't a nefarious government feelings. They were your feelings. Personal to you as a woman, as a child, as a female. And as you grew further up and you got your first crush and you thought he was fantastic, and then he gave his last roll up to somebody else. And that was your experience as a woman, female, well, not mother yet. That was your feeling of heartbreak. And as maybe some of us went to the Debs and maybe some of us didn't, maybe some of us had no money to go to the Debs. And that again was your feeling of maybe being left out and not appreciated. Maybe your mommy did her best and you borrowed a dress. And that was your first time you felt like a lady. And only your friends knew that you had tried a few drinks and they held your hair back, let you do what you needed to do down a sink or down a blue bowl. And they kept your hair back, then they tidied you up, reapplied your makeup, or put you in a taxi. That is the relationship true women have with each other. That's not betrayal. And later on in life, when you decided to go to work or not go to work or have to go to work, and you tried to set up a home and a family, whether you had 1 room or 10 rooms or 5 rooms, you tried to make a life for you and if you had family. And you weren't a carer, you cared for your children. But care was more than care bonds. You now were a mother. Or you may have chosen not to be a mother. Or you may not be a mother yet. But these are all your experiences. These are not experiences, hive experiences they want you to have. We're all just the one that say anyone can be a woman. Anyone cannot be a woman. And this is what they want to do. They want to break down your family. They want to take advantage of all the women that are carers in this country. And I can tell you, the carers of this country have been let down. And when they lie and they say if you're not married, you'll be left out, you'll be alienated, disenfranchised. Nothing is further from the truth. And I want to say thank you to the people that reignited my love for An Bunreacht and our Constitution. At my age, I get it. I understand what's going on. And these people that don't even know what a woman is, and these women will come back to betrayal. You trusted them. You thought they'd do what was right for you. And I'm here to tell you, these people are jealous of you. And you might think, how can they be jealous of me? I don't have much. I don't have power. And that's where you're wrong. Because you women, you have the power. They're jealous. You have experienced in your long life or your shorter life the tapestry that has woven all your life together. And they can never understand it. And they can never appreciate it. And they never will. These people are degenerate. You can never go down to their level. You would never want to. And they actually think, and I'll just finish up, and they actually think that providing a cheap old pencil, it's a joke, it's pathetic. They actually think by producing an old pencil and a scrap of paper as a ballot box that's fixed, they actually think they can destroy Irish women. And we stand on the shoulders of the women that came here before us and the women that were abused and hidden and swept under the carpet as if an old cheap pencil could eradicate them. We laugh at you. O'Gorman and Radcar and Ryan, you're more to be pitied. So I'm just going to finish off, and I just like to say, I'm not going to name names. There is fantastic people, and women in particular, doing great work all around this country. And there's people doing quiet work. And it takes a lot of courage maybe to stand up in a small town where the neighbours start whispering and whatever, because you handed out a leaflet. And women, they're powerful, because even though their legs might be like jelly, they gingerly walk past these curtain twitchers, and they might buy themselves a little eclair on the way home, and they say, well done, woman. I'll send another email to O'Gorman tomorrow. Yeah. So finally, what I want to do, instead of giving me a bullabus, I want all the women here to give themselves a bullabus. Raise the roof here in Dublin.
Yes. You want it down? Brilliant. When I was asked to introduce these ladies, I thought it was an honour. My name is Jeff Gallagher. Some of you might know me. You'll know me by the end of this. But I have to say, the lineup today is just phenomenal. Our next speaker up, Susie Delaney from the Irish Inquiry. Another powerful, great woman of Ireland. Put your hands together.
Hello everyone, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. Edel did a great job there of not reading anything off the page. I'm afraid I'm going to be reading off the page if that's okay, because I don't want to forget anything. So, when I hear the government imply they've altruistic motives for this referendum, I'm reminded of something Ronald Reagan once said in a rare moment of honesty from a politician. The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. The truth is, there is nothing benevolent about O'Gorman and co. If their mouths are moving, they're lying.
Yes.
They are as caring and helpful as a fox in a chicken coop. They falsely assert the Constitution says a woman
We cut the power. Okay. Hello. Here's the hero, Peter. Hello. Yeah. Guys, thanks for your attention, but we continue, Susie. So, I'll hand you back over to Susie.
Sorry about that. Sorry, I'll just find where I was. The government falsely asserts the Constitution says a woman's place is in the home. Yet they don't seem to care that not every Irish woman has a place to call home to begin with, and many of them are mothers with young children. Where a woman's place should never ever be is taking her last breaths on a cold hard bed of concrete like Anne Delaney did last week. And my own sister did in a hostel 10 years ago, just 2 minutes from where we stand, where she inexplicably lay undiscovered for several days, even though they knew that she was in the building. And what followed was a Gardaí-assisted cover-up to protect Dublin City Council and a private landlord, and I saw the state cares about nobody, especially not women. And if there are women being forced to stay at home these days, it's not because they just want to stay at home, it's because they're afraid to walk around their communities thanks to this government's policies. Sorry, I kind of messed up a bit there. Plenty of women want to stay at home, by the way. I love staying at home with my daughter, just to say. Also, can we just pause for a moment to appreciate how they claim the language of the Constitution is archaic, but at the same time they're allowing hijab appreciation days in our schools. And according to girlsnotbrides.org, this government have not met their promised goals in ensuring child marriage is eradicated from Ireland. Nor have they ensured there are enough domestic violence refuge spaces for women. Last month, in response to 500 new domestic violence spaces being needed in this country to meet the demand, Woman and Mother Justice Minister Helen McEntee said, Ireland needs to be more realistic about how many refuge beds it can provide. Well, Minister, maybe it would be easier to provide them if you weren't so concerned with housing illegal male migrants. Another thing this government has failed to provide, despite it being recommended 5 years ago, is the establishment of mother and baby psychiatric units. Such units don't exist in this country and they're vitally needed. Postnatal depression is proven to be even more detrimental to mothers and babies when they're separated. In addition, this government is allowing beds to be taken from elderly women, and men for that matter, to house strong fit males. Over 50 nursing homes have closed in a 4-year period, with 24 of them in the last year alone. The government have also been internationally criticised for refusing to meet the minimum standards required to prevent women and children being sex trafficked into this country. That's happening in every single village and town of this country. Every single one. Small children being sold for sex. Sorry now, I know there's children here. But it's the truth. And here's a few more ways in which they care about us all. They've endangered children in state care. And last year an Irish judge found that a 6-year-old child who was raped had consented to sex. And he dismissed the jury. He told the jury that they had to find this person not guilty or he would. Children with mental health difficulties, intellectual difficulties and autism languish on waiting lists for years and their families are totally unsupported. They've cut special needs funding to schools in recent weeks and they put migrant children in windowless rooms in buildings that are fire hazards with no proper fire certs, and they call it humanitarian duty. And then they feign concern for human safety when someone sets fire to an empty building. As I said, they care for absolutely nobody. So what are these amendments really about? They're about attacking the nuclear family, of which mothers are at the heart. Cut out the heart and you destroy society. Destroy society and you create people with no strong sense of self, who are malleable and easy to control, which is exactly what they want. These amendments are also about ensuring more immigration. If a yes vote is passed, we may see men reunified with their multiple wives. Ironic considering the government's claims they are combating sexism and misogyny in this referendum. And some people have brought to my attention in the last few days that it's possible that the woman and mother aspect of this referendum may have future legal implications for military conscription of females. I'm not too sure about that. There's women who are more qualified than me to speak about it, but it's something we should be really thinking about and wondering about. I think you should vote yes, yes on March 8th, but only if you wish to see the continued systematic destruction of this country and its people at the hands of this morally reprehensible government. And to conclude, I think we here today should call for the immediate resignation of Roderick O'Gorman.
Yes. Oh.
His position is wholly untenable, and it has been for a long time now. Same with all of them up there. Anyway, that's all I have to say for today, and thanks very much for listening to me. And get out on March 8 and vote no.
Hello, Susie. Susie Delaney, everybody, Irish and Poorly. That hit home. What did Roderick O'Gorman and Radiger's mothers think of this change? Taking mother out of our constitution. I can't get my head around it. They have to be ashamed of their sons. They have to be. Our next speaker, friend of mine, another great woman, all these great women. Una McGurk, barrister, guys. Big round of applause, please.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Great. Lovely to see you all here today. So to get to it, we have a very important event taking place next Friday, March the 8th, involving another example of a waste of state resources, a constitutional referendum, the cost of which is considered to amount to at least 20 million euros. 20 million euros would go a long way to pay for accommodation and support for homeless people, whether Irish or otherwise. But no, this government would rather use it to deceive the electorate into voting women and mothers out of the Constitution, and to do it on International Women's Day. There is no mandate from the Irish people for these proposed changes in the Constitution. So I just want to deal with the two amendments. I know many of you would be familiar with them, but just bear with me and you'll see where I'm going with this. The first proposed amendment, as you know, removes the special connection between family and marriage and provides an additional reference to what constitutes the family, which means it's now going to be founded on marriage and other durable relationships. You've heard this term over and over, so stay with me on this. I cannot emphasize this enough. There is no reference to single parents, lone parents, cohabitating couples in this proposed amendment, as is being widely suggested. This is just misinformation or disinformation being peddled principally by Minister Roderick O'Gorman and by government-funded NGOs, principally the National Women's Council. One could be forgiven for thinking they knew something that the rest of us do not. Now hold that thought, because I'll come back to that in just a moment. So who is the body that is tasked with dealing with misinformation and disinformation during elections? You guessed it, yes, it's the Electoral Commission. But mysteriously, their powers to deal with misinformation and disinformation have not yet been enforced by ministerial order. How convenient is that? This gives a free rein to O'Gorman and his pals. So when you combine that information with the following, I think you will join the dots. This government rushed through this legislation using guillotine motions, with little or no Dáil input. They chose the phrase other durable relationships, even though they tell us that it will be a matter for the courts to define the phrase other durable relationships after the referendum in the event of a yes vote. So what do we have in our legal system at the moment that has the exact same phrase, durable relationships? Yes, you guessed it, the transposed EU directive, which is currently being analysed and interpreted by the Superior Court decisions. So expect a plan. The plan will be, in the event of a yes vote, to encourage the courts to adopt the reasoning and interpretations regarding the EU transposed directive. As how else will the courts divine the will of the people? Because, as you know, all we have are 3 words. They have not been interpreted. So how is the court going to interpret them? How is the court going to divine the will of the people? And the only way they can really do that is if they are encouraged to use the same interpretation that they're using for the EU directive. That's something that I think we need to give consideration to. If that happens, then we will have a further melding and merging of EU law and Irish constitutional law. Another nail in the coffin for our own constitution, and a further step towards the creation of a powerful supranational EU superstate. Job well done. Thank you, Roderick, from the boys and girls up above. Oops, or should I say they, them, it. Have I missed a pronoun? Now, with regard to the second referendum, it's known as the carers referendum. The state is taking away the respect and acknowledgement for women in the home, and also their obligation to endeavour to ensure that mothers do not have to work outside the home due to economic necessity. And they are going to replace it with a very vague article that recognises care between family members, but imposes no obligation on the state to provide for such carers. Thus, what the state is doing is 2 proposed changes which effectively involves them abrogating their responsibility in 2 areas. 1, by removing from themselves any responsibility for mothers in the home, and 2, in the proposed amendment, by leaving it up to family members themselves to care for one another. You're on your own, guys, if this goes through. The use of the word strive to support such carers is meaningless. Strive simply means to try, and it imposes no obligation on the state, contrary to what is being stated out there. So it's utterly meaningless and does not legally oblige or mandate the state to do anything. In addition, and I don't think anyone has really mentioned this, some of you may be aware of it, that the concept of home is also referred to in the 2 articles that the government proposed to remove from the Constitution. And if they are removed, and if this referendum passes, I would have a concern that a child's right to a home may no longer be protected with the eradication of home and mother from the Constitution. So as a proud Irish woman who can trace her ancestry back generations, I am deeply concerned at what this government proposed to do to the mothers of Ireland. They are showing no respect for women or mothers or the importance of home life. Women of Éire, you are being eradicated. You have been sold out by the National Women's Council, and it's your hard-earned money that is being used to pay them to do it. You are being replaced. We have a government now that supports the contention that any man can become a woman just by means of a declaration. They have weaponized sport against you. We have a government that supports a deeply, deeply disturbing transgender ideology. We now have government ministers who cannot even define what a woman is. This is part of a much bigger agenda, a deep, dark agenda, and many of you here already know this. So as for next Friday, just remember, it's a trap. Don't fall for it. Vote no and no. Bless you and thank you for listening.
Thanks, everyone. Look at all these families, or should I say, durable relationships, is it? They're the durable tires, they're the durable countertops, durable batteries. Unbelievable. Just before our next speaker, there's another hero. She's not going to come up now, but she's in the background there, and this lady has worked tirelessly over the last few years, breaking down certain laws for all us simpletons to be able to read and understand. And especially the referendum coming up on Friday. She has broken it down into two parts and worked on it for months. Can everybody put your hand together and let's acknowledge Tracy O'Mahony's work? Thanks, Tracy. Two more speakers to go, guys. Our next speaker is community activist and a member of Coolock Ops Out, Madeline Ebbs. Yeah. You don't stand.
Good afternoon. This is an Irish mammy's perspective. Forgive me for reading off the page. I just didn't want to leave anything out. My name is Madeline Ebbs, and I am a critical thinking community activist. I am here today because I feel I have a duty of care to my 3 children and my 7 grandchildren, and I feel our lives would be completely compromised should these articles be changed. As I said, I'm a mother, a grandmother, a daughter, a sister, and a damn proud Irish woman. As it stands, the Constitution protects women and mothers who want to stay at home. I was born in the Liberties 65 years ago. I was raised by a strong and educated stay-at-home mother. And in all the time, I don't know of one single person who has been affected or impaired by the current wording of our Constitution. Even though it was written back in 1937, it was and is a very progressive document. So why change it now? Today I stand with the brilliant and hard-working people of Coolock and the north side of Dublin supporting this no vote. I am not racist, I am not homophobic. I am, however, absolutely heartbroken and horrified to see and witness what is happening to our beautiful little country. I will be voting no and no, because deep down in my heart and soul, I know that anything this government does is not for the good of the Irish people. Yeah. They have slowly but surely taken away our heritage, our culture, and now they want to take away our identity as mothers. Being a mother is one of the most powerful and complex positions in the world, and only us women can do that. After our Lord Jesus Christ and Saviour, we are the givers of life. It is the ultimate act of heroism. We don't need to change these current articles. We may in fact need to try and make them work better for us with regard to making it easier for women who really do want to stay at home with their infants and children by way of better tax incentives. The future of our country and indeed our world depends on the matriarchal structure within the family unit. Since the beginning of COVID, our politicians have completely removed themselves from all communication with the Irish people. They have set themselves up in their ivory towers with their eyes, ears and minds solely set on Europe, the EU, the WHO and the WEF. They want to introduce new legislations with zero obligation to us. I firmly believe that the likes of these referendums are a distraction tactic, because when we are all busy trying to understand and figure this out, we are not discussing their disgraceful abuse of power regarding the likes of illegal immigration, the abysmal healthcare system, and we have civil unrest, not to mention the 20 million they are spending on this unnecessary referendum. Go me a
Thanks, Madeline. Just another quick shout out to another hero, guys, he's suffering a bit of political persecution at the moment. You'll know this man from Yellow Vests Ireland. He is facing time in jail simply because he took part in lockdown protests and assemblies. And all I'll say is, if they can do it to Glenn Miller, they can do it to any of us. So I'd like to think we'll stand in solidarity with Glenn if his back is against the wall, guys. All right. Our final speaker today, and this is another woman who just blows my mind with the work they do. It's incredible. And I think we appreciate it, but we don't. Like, a lot of the work goes on in the background. And every weekend she seems to be a speaker everywhere. Yeah, I think there's 3 of them actually. I think she's triplets. But I'm going to she's a community activist. She's a mother of 2. She's the founder of the Natural Women's Council, professional life and business coach, NLP practitioner, the one and only Jana London. Yeah!
Make sure that's the right height. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for coming today to stand for the women in this country. In case you can't hear my accent, I'm not born an Irish woman, but I've been here 21 years, and I call this my home, and my kids were born here. Nearly 9 years ago was the best day of my life. I became a mother. I gave birth to my first child, a beautiful baby girl with the deepest blue eyes that I've ever seen, just next door at the Rotunda Hospital. 5 years ago was another significant day for me. Just 2 years after my late great father passed, I gave birth to a very robust lad who has the same sparkling green eyes, tenacity, and zest for life as his grandfather. And I'm blessed beyond words that I have these 2 amazing children call me Mummy. Yeah. I have unapologetically made the decision to stay at home full time with my children since the day they moved from my womb to this world. I have never been forced to stay at home. I have never been strapped to the kitchen sink. I enjoyed a very successful career for 20 years, which is what brought me to this beautiful country. And I've always had access to opportunities. I've always been empowered to make my own decisions. I don't think our 2 female presidents were denied opportunities as women and mothers either. Our Constitution recognizes mothers under Article 41.2.1 that by her life within the home, woman gives to the state a support without which the common good cannot be achieved. I couldn't agree with this more. A mother's enduring love, influencing our children's lives, and growing good, strong roots. Is there really any more contribution in society that is more significant than the role of a mother? Oh. Article 41.2.2 states that the state shall therefore endeavor to ensure that mothers shall not be obliged by economic necessity to engage in labor to the neglect of their duties in the home. The corrupt political establishment and their agents lied from the get-go about this referendum. De Valera was inspired by a U.S. feminist named Ivy Pinchbeck to insert Clause 41.2 into our Constitution so that working-class mothers would not be forced into factory work because of economic necessity. Ivy Pinchbeck wrote about the conditions of work in factories for young mothers and how some were even forced to leave their children alone at home while they went to work for pittance money. Caring for children at home and not working was considered the premise of the wealthy. De Valera drafted Article 41.2 with working class mothers in mind to protect them from attack. However, they are trying to make women feel that it is offensive, misogynist, and outdated to be a mother caring for her children at home. De Valera had it right. A mother should be protected from economic attack so they can fulfill their fundamental role in caring for children. It could be argued that this article that they intend to delete laid the foundation for a mother's right to Social Security and work-related protection, including maternity payments, child benefit, and home caring pension contributions. By deleting this article, the state will no longer have a duty, as enshrined in our Constitution, to provide financial support and protection to mothers like myself who have chosen to care for my children in the home. William Ross Wallace wrote a poem, "For the hand that rocks the cradle is the hand that rules the world." It's about the significance of women shaping society, equating our nurturing role to the power that governs the world. Perhaps this is why our government wants to delete us and the divine femininity. My question is this: will mothers in Ireland wake up on Mother's Day 2024, the 10th of March, to the breaking news that the yes vote won and the word mother has been erased from the Constitution? Why would we do this? Why would we vote for this? Why is the government and the so-called opposition pushing this? We should be pressing for further legislation under this article, not its removal. The vast majority of mothers would prefer to stay at home with their babies and children. So is it progressive, as they say, to delete the constitutional article that supports this? No, it's regressive. Is it a joke that the government proposed to remove the mention of woman and mother from Article 41.2 of the Irish Constitution on International Women's Day? Is this April Fool's Day come early? Why would we agree to this? Our sex is being erased. No mothers, but rather birthing people. No breastfeeding, but rather chest feeding. The HSE is already stating that people with a cervix should go for their annual screening. So I'm looking around now and I ask all of you men to book that appointment in with your GP for your cervical screening and see if they can find it. This government also tried to erase women from the maternity legislation in 2022, and that's when we founded the Natural Women's Council on 7/7/22, lobbying against the erasure of women from the maternity legislation, and here they are again trying to do the same thing. Erasing women may erase the biological sex-based rights that our women and our girls have. Does this mean that our daughters must play sports against men who claim to be a woman with a penis? Our daughters are being taught in school that girls can become boys. This nonsense must stop. We must not allow our biological sex-based rights, our freedoms, our choices, which are enshrined in the Constitution, to be ripped up before our eyes. Sophia Loren wrote, "When you are a mother, you are never really alone in your thoughts. A mother always has to think twice, once for herself and once for her child." So let's think twice here as we cast our vote next week. It's critical that we all vote no and no for all the women, the mothers, and the families here in Ireland. Thank you very much.
Hello, John.
And the last thing I'll say is I just, for anyone on social media, on our YouTube channel, the Natural Women's Council, I just exposed a very, very long email thread questioning why Minister Dara O'Brien is not enacting his powers to the Electoral Commission to stop misinformation. There's dozens of letters. It's a 7-minute clip, and you can see, and I'm on to Dara O'Brien, he could stop misinformation being said. All he has to do is enact those powers, but he's not doing his job, and therefore the misinformation is allowed to be spread using your public funds.
Hello. Guys, big round of applause for all our speakers today, please. The only woman I want to erase is Mary Lou. Because when we all vote no, She's going to try and put another referendum. No. Mary Lou, no means no. No means no. No means no. And this June, guys, the European elections and the local elections are happening. And there's some people that I trust running. And the people in June that are going to run and try and out those sinister ministers in the Dáil are people like Gavin Pepper, Fred Power, Michael Burke, Derek Bly, Ben Gilroy, myself, Jeff Gallagher, and Malachy. Oh, no, I'm saying the best of. Before we call Malachy up to close our little gathering, we all know how important it is that we get Malachy Stenson voted and into as a MEP, because I believe a man can make change. So before I call on Malachy up, we have Ferg is going to say a few words, and then we'll finish with Malachy, okay? So just a couple of more moments, guys. Come on, Ferg.
I just wanted to read something out that was originally in our native text, Cloud Gaelic, and it's about the sanctity of motherhood and what they mean to us. Your mother is your mother. Nobody can do half the things she does or has done for you. Nobody can be compared to her. Only God can love you more than she does. She is only one person, but it's the person that matters the most. No matter where she is, in heaven or here on earth, there is nothing like a mother's love. All my life I've been surrounded by the strongest women imaginable. My ma, my nannies, my aunties, my sister, my mother-in-law, my niece, my incredible wife, and all the once in a lifetime warriors I've met on my journey all over this beautiful island. They are strength, they are beauty, and they are love personified. They are priceless. They give life, they guide, they nurture, they teach, and they protect our own with a ferocity that is second to none, especially Irish mammies. My precious children are absolutely blessed because of the person they got to call mammy. So get up and get out on the 8th of March and show all the women of our home the love, the gratitude, the respect that they so absolutely and totally deserve. This is our land, our destiny, and our era. God bless all this free era of the
You're watching Ballybrack?
This little girl, right? See a picture? Ava O'Brien, fit and healthy. Her father Martin is a friend of mine. This is what these monsters in the Dáil are trying to cover up with all the distractions. The excess mortality that's off the scales in Ireland and across the world because of the poison they put in them jabs. That little girl will never get to be a mother, right? She'll never get to grow up to be a woman. She's passed away. That poison killed her. And every one of them monsters has to be held to account for it, okay? Every fucking one of them.
Yes. Malachy. Is Malachy about? He's got the shot. Okay. Well, we'll have a bit of music. Ah, here he is. Here he is. Not like you to be late, Malachy. Everybody, Malachy Stenson.
It's great to see so many people here to campaign and to vote to protect your mother, the mother of your children, and the best Mother's Day present you can give your mother this Mother's Day, which I think is next Sunday, is to vote no to protect her next Friday. It's important that everybody here gets out and votes and ensures that everybody else in their family gets out and does the same thing. So get out early, vote no, and then do it again, vote no. We have listened every day to scandal after scandal emerging from this government. We have O'Gorman still in power, while he presides over hundreds of children going missing under his care in Tulsa. We have a young child who went into care, and we highlighted this last year, but I think Father Tobin mentioned it in the Dáil the other day. A young girl was taken into state care, the state that told us they would protect our children when people naively voted for the children's referendum. And remember, the very same people who told us children will be protected if we had the children's referendum passed are the very same people who are telling you to take your mother out of the Constitution. That young girl went into care, and within an hour, she was taken and put into a brothel, where she was found by chance a year later. And I don't know if any of you have seen the film Path to Freedom, I think it's called. Michael, Sound of Freedom, Sound of Freedom. The actor James Cavalier in that says that the trafficking of children industry is the biggest industry in the world. He said, you can sell a bag of coke once, you can sell a gun once, but you can sell a child 10 or 12 times a day for 10 or 15 years. Roderick O'Gorman is presiding over that. In a normal society, he would be sacked. And in a decent society, he'd be in jail. There is no reason, it seems to me, in this country that any politician in a government party is sacked. We had Catherine Martin telling us last week that it doesn't matter what it says in the Constitution, it's what we think it says. The whole reason for having a Constitution and having the Supreme Court determine what it says is because we must know what it says. We can't make it up as we go along. They're talking about durable relationships. Mary Baker, a Supreme Court judge, said that could mean sending a Christmas card to somebody. My mother, before she died, every year sent about 150 Christmas cards. Is she in 150 durable relationships? We are living in a dystopian society. If you sat down 20 years ago and said that in 2024, we would be standing here and there would be politicians in this country who couldn't tell you what a woman was, you'd laugh at them. George Orwell, when he wrote 1984, we all thought it was a novel, a bit of crack. And in reality, he was only tipping the iceberg. They intend in this country to take total control over everybody. Only last week they brought in legislation to make everybody an organ donor. And that passed without debate or without discussion. And most people probably tick the box on the back of your license to say you donate your organs if you die. And that's fair enough. That's a choice. What happened, My Body, My Choice, from a couple of years ago? Now they're going to take whatever they want. And you can be quite sure that those organs will be taken and sold. People will be switched off their machines to sell their organs. The same people who argue that it's right to kill a child before it's born, to kill your mother when they remove her from the Constitution, or your father because they don't want to provide care for them in their old age, they're telling old people that you're a nuisance, that you're a waste of space, and you should be put down. That's the type of society that these political class and NGOs are creating. In this country, we have 33,000 NGOs who get 6.8 billion per year of your money. And despite Supreme Court ruling after Supreme Court ruling, particularly in McKenna, about the funding of referendums, they're using your money illegally to campaign in this referendum. And they were told quite clearly that their funding would be stopped. Again, when O'Gorman came out and said that progressive NGOs who don't campaign for a yes vote in this referendum will have questions to answer. What he actually meant was that their funding will be stopped if they don't toe the government line. And we have them then the next day, the National Some Women's Council, who have men dressed up as women on their boards, telling women that they don't know what a woman is, telling women and men to take your mothers out of the Constitution. What we should be striving for is a society where mothers are not forced out of their homes to earn money to simply pay their rent or their mortgage. We have created a society where families don't matter, where society doesn't matter. And many years ago, Margaret Thatcher was asked about society, and she said, there's no such a thing as a society. We're only a collection of individuals. Well, Margaret Thatcher was wrong then. She was wrong on many things. But this government, and governments right throughout the Western world, are intent on the destruction of nationhood. They're intent on the destruction of family, and they're intent on the destruction of our way of life. And it's groups like these and all the people who have come today, the people who are out campaigning on a daily basis, the people who are at our other protests about immigration policy in this country, the people who are standing up and are not afraid to be counted and are saying enough is enough. And the first act we have to do next Friday is to defeat these referendums. And on Mother's Day next week, we shall be rallying in a victory rally all around the country and saying, we are the people of Ireland and we will decide. And we will have decided no on both referendums. Thank you.
We're going to wrap up. Let's hear it for Sheila.
Sheila the campaigner. Sheila for the homeless. Sheila, who was homeless once. And Sheila from the mother and baby homes. The mother and baby homes. I'm also with a community called Survivors Unite at last. And we are saying no. The Magdalens are saying no. The industrial institutions are all saying no. No.
No.
And we mean no.
Hello, sir. To the mothers.
The mothers who never lived. The mothers who walked and the mothers who suffered horrifically. And I'm glad that I lived to tell the truth and the tale from behind the walls. And we will not stop. We are saying no. No one will tell us any different. No one controls your mind. And nobody else has the right to tell you. You have to say yes. When you have your own mind, you will make your own choice. But the choices are this. It's no. 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 No.
Hello, Sheila. The great women of Ireland. We're going to wrap up now, guys, and hopefully everybody will go home in peace. We will respect the Garda. The Garda will respect us. I want to finish with a bit of music from Savannah and Tiana. Oh, beautiful names, beautiful names. So we're nearly there, guys. A bit of music, bit of music. How are you all? Just one thing I want to say. I love my mother. And I love the mother of my children and my granny and my kids. Right? There's no way this is going to go through. And if it does, there's something wrong with the people in this country. So a little song for you, all the gangsters. Enjoy.
Go on, Gary!
Whoa, our land is dying, and she's dying very fast. Because the greedy gangsters in the town are selling all our land. They're trying to kill our heritage and kill our culture too. But the worst thing that they could have done was piss off me and you. We blame O'Gorman, Leo and Mary Lou. We blame Matt Murphy and his brother and he's the crew. What they don't realize, cause they haven't got a clue, that there's more of us than you. Don't you feel, bloody feel. Oh, Mr. O'Gorman sent a message to the world in lots of different languages. He said, oh, they're welcome. You don't need a passport or documents or papers too. You just come to Nicola Ireland, and we look after you. Forget the natives. We blame O'Gorman, Leo and Mary Lou. We blame Matt Murphy and his truck and he's the crew. What they don't realize, cause they haven't got a clue, that there's more of us than you. Over 14,000 Irish homeless living on their land. There are enough pumps to house all the moms with brown. The Irish are slowly waking up because you push too much on us, and we are standing up. We've had enough. We're fighting back, yeah. We blame O'Gorman, Leo and Mary Lou. We blame Matt Murphy and his truck for what we could do. What they don't realize, cause we haven't got a clue, that there's more of us than you. Oh, you're trying to call the family, and you know that it won't last. Because the Irish mothers are away, and our grannies are all mad. The men and women who fought and died to free our land. Oh, they're torn in their bloody graves, cause they don't understand. Who do we blame? We blame O'Gorman, Leo and Mary Lou. We blame Paul Murphy on his brother for being the crew. What a joke. But they don't realize, cause we haven't got a clue, that there's more of us than you. This one, kids, this one's for Jaden and the twins. They like to sing it now. Ready? When I say Leo, 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 they say L, L. And when the Irish are together, this is what we do. Isn't that what the protest is all about? Right, we're not playing who we blame. We blame O'Gorman, Leo and Mary Lou. We blame Paul Murphy and the truck for people good. But they don't realize, cause we haven't got a clue, it's that there's more of us. It's that there's more of us. That there's more of us than you.
When I called this day, couldn't get any for them. I just got a bit of news here that Susie Delaney and Stephen Kerr are also going to run in the local elections. Oh, some quality there, I tell you, June. Some quality. Right, guys, we're going to finish up now with, we all know, Tracy O'Hanlon, the national anthem, folks.
Jeff. Right, everyone, get the tricolours flying. Sinna fina fo, a toffui galegeren, Bwindar slun, tartena ranig vun, way much faces. Shantira shin sharfosta ni akwa fwyn tiram na fwyn troel anach na hem saban y bwyl legan gael con bosh no sail legan as great fwy lamad na bile all together Charlotte Canny
Come in peace, everybody. Thanks for coming today, especially all our friends from the country have to travel up. Thank you, and spread this all on social media, guys. Get the country out on Friday.